Okay, today we're going to retrofit an existing hot tub with a UV peroxide system. And we're going to go through the parts and the equipment that you need to do the job. And one of the reasons people like this is because there's less chemicals, no chlorine or bromine to add. It's just peroxide and ultraviolet light. And this is the first and the main part of the equipment that you need. This is a stainless steel unit made in America, and the water flows through this, and it's in your circulatory system of your hot tub. We plumb it into the hot tub. Then the other thing is the UV light slides into the system like this, and we have a ballast. This is a high output ballast unit for the UV light. It attaches onto the light and screws into the end of the unit like that. Okay, this is the peristaltic pump that is part of the system, and what this does is it feeds in the peroxide automatically. It has timer and on switches, and we put it on the timer position, and then we set it accordingly, and it runs for 30 seconds every 9 minutes and just feeds in a small amount of peroxide. Also with the equipment, you get some testing equipment and some chemicals. And this is our test kit from Crystal Clear Water Treatment. And we have directions on the back side. And then these are the components with the test kit. We have a test cell. And you dip this in the water and you fill it to the top line, 25 milliliters. Then you add your first reagent, which is a bleach reagent. You put 10 drops in. Then next, you put the number 2 reagent in and you add 10 drops of that. And then you'll get a color. It's kind of an amber red color. You give it a little swirl. Then your last reagent is we're testing how much peroxide is in your tub, residual level. And so you count the drops. When the water goes back to clear, you multiply times 5, and that's how much peroxide is in your tub. And we recommend between 50 and 150 parts per million. And then also we have a non-chlorine shock treatment. This is added at different intervals. It depends on how much you use your tub. And it's a very good product for just helping the whole system work better. And then the last thing we have is the 30% peroxide. It's in a 5-gallon UN approved container, which we can deliver to you or ship to you anywhere in the continental United States. The first thing that we do is we determine the flow of water through your system. And how we do that is we look at the pumps and determine the discharge side of the pump. The pump is over on this side and the water is flowing through the heating unit here and then back into the tub. So we're going to put our equipment on the downside of the heating unit. Now we've moved over to the side of the tub following the flow of water from the pack. And we've determined that this pipe right here is the one we're going to cut into to add our UV peroxide system. Next, to connect the UV light to the plumbing of the system, we put the split nut on the flare fitting on the unit, and then we just put it together with these screws. There's one on each side. Screws in like that. Then we have the tailpiece with an O-ring. Goes on there, and then you can tighten this down on here like this, and then now the unit is ready to connect to the plumbing of the hot tub. Okay, we've put the half nuts on and then put the tail pieces for connecting the PVC. Next we'll put in the quartz sleeve into the unit and feed it through. Then we have the O-ring and the compression fittings that we spoke of earlier, and they go on the ends like such. And you have the O-ring and the compression fitting goes on each end. And then most of these things are all hand tight. If you do have a leak, once you put it all together, then you might want to tighten it all up, but pretty much you want to use hand tightening on the quartz sleeve because it is obviously glass. And then we have a cover that goes over the one end, and then the UV light on the other. All right, and we cut the pipe where it's coming from the pack, and now we're going to install a 45 to continue our retrofit. Okay, now we've cut the continuation of the pipe that we cut into, and we're going to put a 90 on here to make the connection to the UV unit. So we prime both sides. Priming is very important in gluing, and we'll just get that done like this. All right, now we're gluing the pipe on the return side just to continue the loop into the spa. And we're using the hard pipe on this side just for a nice clean fit through the cover, the side of the spa. Okay, we're adding the 90s to the ultraviolet unit and continuing to connect this to the existing system. We're also adding a ball valve on the return side so that we can isolate the equipment if we had to work on it. Now next, this is the injection fitting, and you put this on the influence side of the UV unit. The water is coming this way. So we inject the peroxide just before it goes into the UV light for the best contact time with the UV light and the peroxide just being injected in. And you always want to put this on the upward side, facing up. All right, well, we've added the shutoff valve on the return side to the spa so we can isolate the equipment if we have to work on it. We've also added the injection fitting. Now we're going to move this into place and eye up where the pipes are going to come through the spa cover and the spa side rather, and then the box where the equipment will be in. Okay, now we have the pipes coming out of the side of the spa, and you'll notice there's some discoloration here. It's where the molding was, and what we'll do is we'll put the box into place and then we'll restore that molding above where the box is, and then the box will fit snugly, as snug as it can, up against the spa, and we'll put in the pieces of molding right there, and then we'll anchor the box against the tub. Okay, now before we glue this into place, we're going to add the injection fitting, and we have a plastic fitting that fits into this 1/2-inch threaded T, and then we're just going to thread it on there. We've put Teflon tape and some plumber's goop on there so it doesn't leak, and then we're just going to tighten that down on here just like this. And as you noticed on here, we have a red check valve, and that's the check valve we talked of earlier. Keeps the water from the spa from going back into the peroxide system. And again, you can just cut that, slide it over it, and then we supply clips to clip it on for safety. Okay, now we're going to put in the second side of the UV, the return side. So again, we prime the fitting, prime the pipe, glue, and then we're going to put this together like this. Push that in, let it come in a little bit. Okay, then you connect that piece and screw up the fitting. There you go. The unit is installed in line with the rest of the circulatory system of the hot tub. Okay, now we're going to talk about the Rollikin pump and putting the tubing in for the injection of the peroxide. So the first thing you do is you want to put some magic lube or any kind of non-petroleum lube on the inside part of the tubing. then you take and you put it over the H block and you pull it down. Then you put the cover for the Rollicam on top, push it down, and put your 4 wing nuts on here. Now, as you do this, you want to make sure that you put the weight that's on the tubing on the left side, because this thing turns counterclockwise and we want the tubing to be on the suction side. And then you're ready to install the Rollicam in the newly installed box to feed the peroxide. Okay, we've mounted the Rollicam pump and the high output ballast. We've had an electrician connect it to the pack, the spa pack, and now we're going to put the light. We also have the tub is full, water circulating. We have, this is the lamp. Want to make sure there's no fingerprints or anything on it, so it's a good idea to clean it. And then we just put it into the unit like that, plug it into the plug, and screw the cap on. Okay, now we're going to connect this line from the Rollicam into the ejection fitting for the final connection for the peroxide to feed in to the plumbing. You always want to make sure you have all these clips on here to ensure no leakage. So we've connected all the lines. The water's in the tub. It's running. Put the front onto your box. And you've completed your retrofit.